Hey everyone, it's Mare from SickMom checking in for day 25 of the carnivore diet. Oh, it's been a bit of a rough one today, folks. As a result of the day that I've had today, I kind of wanted to go through what adaptation might look like if you have a chronic illness. So there are a lot of documented cases now of people who have autoimmune disease and various other chronic illnesses who have been doing the carnivore diet to in an attempt to reduce their inflammation, and also heal their gut and just generally start having, less pain and inflammation. So when you're coming from a place where you have been really sick, some of you may have experienced this, but it often takes longer to recover from colds, or if you've had, any minor procedures done. For instance, a number of years ago now, I think that was at the beginning of 2014, I had an ablation procedure done for a condition called supraventricular tachycardia, or SVT. And in general, they recommend about 2 weeks of recovery before you start kind of feeling like yourself, or that's kind of the suggested time frame that they have when you're coming out of when you leave the hospital. It's not like it's a major surgical procedure. In fact, they just kind of go fishing with some wires through your blood vessels to go and find the area of your heart that is having an electrical short circuit kind of idea, causing the heart to race. So when I had my ablation procedure done, it took me about a month before I started feeling better. And by better, I mean that procedure kind of gave me life again. I'll do a different video on SVT kind of explaining that, but for today's purposes, it's just really to demonstrate how the average person would probably take 2 weeks to, adapt to or go through like the keto flu phase or the adaptation phase. I mean, and again, depending on, sorry, I have to sneeze. I've been sneezing all day. No, it's not coming. Okay. Adaptation, from all of the research that I've done, can last anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of months. And I mean, I'm at day 25 and I have experienced varying degrees of the adaptation, like a little bit of diarrhea here and there, which a lot of people, if you watch Joe Rogan's recap after his first 30 days, he goes into a lot of detail about that. Mine has not been so bad, and I'm a little bit surprised by that, because with IBS, depending on the kind of irritable bowel syndrome you have, you can kind of be teetering between things not moving and things moving too fast. But beyond that, today was kind of low-grade fever day for me. My body temperature usually on average is slightly lower than what you would consider normal or average. So when I take my temperature and I see that it's a little bit elevated, it might not feel like a fever to anybody else, but it does for me, just because my body temperature as a baseline, like I said, is lower than average. So yeah, after I had eaten my meal and I was talking on the phone with a friend of mine, and, I was really enjoying my meal, but I was starting to get so tired. And I'm just saying, oh my God, like just chewing. I'm just getting tired from chewing, but I'm still hungry. So I kept eating. And of course, I was having, some steak and a meat cookie that had been reheated in some bacon fat, which tastes delightful. And then I thought, oh yeah, let's throw a couple of eggs on top of that. Just because I do think I'm still struggling to get enough fat on a daily basis. So I'm finding I'm adding a lot of fat when I'm having my meals. And that's just, I think, because I'm mostly eating through the meat that I have in my deep freeze. And that has generally been very lean meat. You know, I've kept things like ground turkey and lean ground beef and even some baked turkey that has been frozen since the holidays, and not a lot of really fatty red meat. So my next shopping trip is going to include lots of fatty red meat, because now I feel like I don't need to replace those other meats with lean ground turkey and lean pork and that, because I need more fat. Now, of course, this is all food that I am comfortable feeding my daughter. I mean, she loves steak, and yeah, she eats chicken every once in a while, even though I don't. And you know, she gets a good variety of food, and plus she loves fish, so we love to eat salmon. And you know, so those are the kinds of things that are going to be coming more into the house, like really nice salmon and the fatty steak. But anyhow, so while I was eating my really yummy meal, suddenly I started feeling like I've got cold sweats, and I'm saying to my friend, I need to go lie down. And finally I did. I just had to lie down for an hour before I could even record this today. So this is where having a great deal of patience is really important. And I am trying to be patient, and I realize that I could still be in an adaptation phase for another month or maybe more, you know, or could be less. I'm hoping it's going to be less, but still quite tired, and I think that a lot of the fatigue might be from just not getting enough fat. And yeah, so wasn't a very productive day today. I was really thankful that I had food that was already cooked, that I could just reheat quickly and feel like I was very satisfied. Like, I was never a proponent of steak and eggs. In fact, I always thought that it was kind of gross for the longest time. And suddenly today, steak and eggs sounds really good. So I find even my tastes are changing. I mean, for years, I just remember going out for brunch with friends and family and, you know, people having steak and eggs. And I'm like, oh, gross. That just sounds so nasty. I don't know that I'm up for eating that first thing in the morning. I'm still kind of hitting my first meal of the day a little bit later in the day. And then if I'm still hungry, I'm having a meal later on in the evening. And that kind of works for me. My body tends to be happier with food a little bit later in the day anyway. I only really, really try to eat super early in the morning if I know I'm going to be on set for the day, or I have some other engagements, which are very few and far between. Like I've said in a previous video, I'm not working a lot at the moment because I'm still in like full-time just trying to heal my body and get myself to that next level of health. So today I didn't have anything planned, and I'm glad I had nothing planned. And this week has been quite a tired week overall. I've had some moments of just sheer clarity where my mind has been so clear and I've been able to get some stuff done, and that is still progress because I did have a lot of those moments this week as compared to, you know, the week before. It wasn't nearly as much, but I was starting to feel a bit more mental clarity, you know. So we're starting to see between the weeks now, things are changing. My body, I feel, is still kind of recompositioning. It's starting to look very different. I find even across my my breastbone and across my collarbone, I'm starting to feel like it's a lot leaner. And you know, and I don't believe in the scale. I have not weighed myself. I had my physical in December, and so the magic number of what the scale was at in December, a month before starting this is with my doctor's office, and it's going to stay there because I'm just happy with how my clothes feel. So I'm, down almost another pant size. So there's some of my clothes that I was wearing at the beginning of this, and after already doing like that hot water flush that I've talked about, I was already kind of down a size and sort of fitting into the next size down, but everything was pretty snug and, not super comfortable. And now some of those pants are actually starting to be too big, the ones that were not very comfortable. So we're definitely seeing some changes. And I ate today. Like, I ate a lot. I'm quite proud of myself because I was just hungry and I felt like eating, and it was wonderful. And that is something that I think I mentioned yesterday, that my appetite is getting so much better. I mean, despite the fact that I was so puffy and had so much swelling and inflammation before this started, it's not because I was eating a lot. In fact, it was more like my body was kind of in starvation mode and not in a healthy starvation mode, just because the nausea was just kicking my butt all over the place. So having regular meals was difficult. And I'm starting to feel like not just the hunger cues, but when I'm getting hungry is starting to normalize. So these are all really, really positive things. And I just take another horizontal day of rest and a low-grade fever for a short period of time. I just take that in stride because that's it's part of my normal. I'm not going to get really concerned. Oh my God, I had a fever. No. That usually happens at least once a week. And my internal thermostat, my own personal body thermostat, has just been totally, that thing is so busted. And it has been for years. And it's having to do with the Ehlers-Danlos, the fibromyalgia, and the psoriatic arthritis. All three of those things can do really screwy things with your body temperature. So I'll go from being like freezing cold, and then I'll be hot, but then I go back to being freezing cold. So no, it's not a perimenopausal hot flash. This has been happening for over a decade already, and it is related to the illnesses. Now, having said that, I had started noticing prior to this process that when I would get really hot and really tired, it was after eating meals. Not necessarily a large meal, but after eating, I just felt like, oh my goodness, it's like a towering inferno going on inside, where I would just be like, whew, okay, it's like tropical. I feel like I'm in Hawaii, not Calgary. And, and then shortly afterwards, my body temperature would normalize again and sometimes drop or plummet quite dramatically. And the first couple of times where I actually started tracking my body temperature to see if there was something weird going on, my body temperature was damn near hypothermic. And there was no reason for that. So I have been charting that for some time just to give myself an idea of where the peaks and the valleys are, if we can start seeing a trend. But I'm also hoping that's something that will resolve itself as we get further into this process. But at day 25, I can't say there have been really many surprises other than the pleasant surprises, like not craving junk food, not wanting loads of carbs and just wanting to eat crap when it's, Shark Week or approaching that. And usually it's like, I want my junk food. I want it now. I want sweet. I want salty, or maybe both. And not tomorrow. It's got to be right now. And I don't feel that. A lot of people have mentioned that because blood sugar tends to be a lot more stable, unless you have diabetes. Those people are exceptions, and specifically type 2, I believe. I could be wrong about that. I'm very tired. But regardless, I'm not feeling like I'm having crashes after I eat. I'm just noticing that I feel full and I'm quite content. And I also just know when I'm full, and trying to eat a couple of extra bites just to finish a plate. I just get to a point where I'm like, no, this doesn't taste good anymore. I don't want any more. So anyhow, that's a little bit about today. It's a little bit about chronic illness and how that can skew timelines for results. And I was already aware of this. And if you happen to be, starting keto, or if you're starting carnivore, you probably won't have the length of adaptation that I am experiencing. For an average human being who's coming from reasonable health, it shouldn't be as prolonged. But because all this that I got going on is very complex, and there's a lot of healing that needs to happen in my body, and the first stage of that was just really reducing inflammation. So we're winning right now. So if you all could give me some love today, I would so appreciate it. Big thumbs up just down below. Give us a like. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Go and hit that little notification. Excuse me. Just go and hit that little notification bell so you know exactly when the next video is landing on YouTube. And for today, this is SickMom. Check it out.